We've seen a bunch of Acanthoprimnoa on this expedition, although the colonies don't get very big. If that is Acanthoprimnoa, it's one of the largest I've ever seen. Usually they're only a couple centimeters tall. We have sampled on previous cruises in this area fairly extensively these small coral colonies that look like this. Those colonies usually appear on the sides of rocks.
Here? Yeah. Okay.
And they're often subsampled as a part of the biology of the rock. Oftentimes these colonies are so small it's difficult to sample them with a manipulator. And so we find a rock that is movable that we can sample so we can get a better look at some of these smaller corals that are difficult to grasp. So it could be another primnoid, possibly Acanthoprimnoa, also in the right depth range.
It's kind of thinned out, the animals on top of this slope.
Yeah, we were remarking that in certain parts, this right where we are now, I think it's still based on the orientation of the vehicle. It looks like there's a northward current now, which is slightly increased from the kind of east-southeast current we were experiencing deeper. So it really clocked around, and the navigator was making a note that the way the current is moving and the strength of the current, it's more reminiscent of what the ship is experiencing on the surface here.
Huh.
So we may have just gotten around these little kind of wraparound currents around the sides, and now we're on the top, and things tend to have mellowed out a little bit.
Hey Nav, what's our moving status slash? Ah. What's this guy video?
So have you seen these small little bushes? Right down to the, like a 7?
Yeah, we can take a look. I thought
there's one right there also.
It looked like hydroids. Oh, it's a holothurian. To the upper right of the holothurian as well, there was a bushy gray structure.
Oh, right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
snap on that.
Definitely. Oh, look at the...
Is that a very large star?
I think so.
Where are we looking?
Oh, the bush.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Straight on.
Okay. Yeah, let's go in video.
Huh, we've got a bundle of hydroids here, as well as a bryozoan. Some sort of branching bryozoan. So there's a pretty crowded small stock here. I have a feeling that given that all of these small hydroid colonies kind of look the same, I'm guessing they are creating the stock themselves, but it's possible that could be fouled on some sort of other small stock structure we're not seeing in the background.
How's it going?
But the bryozoans are definitely attached. They're up here.
So I hear there's a sample in port outer and starboard inner.
That is correct.
Starboard outer and port inner. Okay.
Yeah.
It's actually the port outer and starboard inner.
Yeah.
And the port outer has a sample that we believe to be relatively light. It did sink down to the bottom, however,
the port side does?
Slowly. The port outer has a light sample in it. So when you go to open up the port side, if you do,
we'll be cautious.
Very slowly.
Thanks, pilot.
Copy that. Come on out, video, whenever you're ready.
All right. So pilot, given that it's flat and we're
Can we check
shallow,
out the star right under that sponge? I'm not sure if it's a starfish or a brittle star.
To the right?
It's upper, yeah, right. Under.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
That's a star there. Okay.
I don't know if it's a stars or
Not
if it's
the
a...
little one, right? That's sitting out.
No, it's like hanging right below
Yeah.
a sponge.
Let me scoot back just a little bit. See if we can get. Come on in, video. What were you saying, Kofat?
I was saying, I think today we should just try to always keep D2 in a light pool. No tension on the tether.
Oh,
Looks like a
There's no
brittle
reason
star.
To be
So
off to one
big,
side or far ahead
yeah,
behind,
big
'cause we
spiny
can
brittle
react
star.
to anything.
Maybe an Okeanos.
For a while, I thought it was maybe a sea star because it was
We're
so
almost
look the
very,
arm
yeah.
slope.
Rudy,
Dimensional.
after that, waypoint
Hey,
4 is
hold
good.
on.
Very
just can't
nice.
Hear everybody. Sorry, Nav. I couldn't hear you with everybody.
Oh, you. Sorry, I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah, but I still had you.
After the zoom, we'll reorient, figure it out.
All set here?
Got that.
You good watch leads?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
thanks.
great. Yeah, Nav. I was just telling you to hold on a second because I was listening to watch leaks.
No problem.
Anything else in this immediate area, watch leaks?
Not right now.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Just kind of keep exploring.
Pilot, would you like a zoom out on high pack and we can see the plan?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on till 4, so be here.
Did you say, yeah, show us the plan first and then we can start doing a move.
Yep. The plan right now is the ship's almost at waypoint 3, and then after that we're just gonna follow this ridge over to the east to waypoint 4.
Oh, okay.
So pretty much
Stay at
all of our moves will
stay
be
at that
towards the
depth.
east,
Great.
and we'll stay right around 435.
Well, let's go ahead and get that moving then. Everybody's looking good on sonar.
All right, pilot, if you wanna orient yourself, or co-pilot.
Here's another.
if you wanna orient it,
Is this what you saw?
090. We'll call it a move.
Oh,
Is that different? That looks like a
So
cat.
till after the
Yeah,
shark.
stand by.
that one looks like a cat
A
shark.
shark, yeah.
Yeah, the one we were looking at earlier
Keep an eye on my
had
position there,
the fin, the
co-pilot.
dorsal
Yeah,
fins were
because I'm gonna
more widely spaced,
focus.
and there was a dark splotch on the forward edge of the forwardmost dorsal fin. So yeah, it didn't. It also didn't have this kind of leopard print coloration. It was more gray. But this looks like
Just put lasers on.
those cat sharks that are
Oh,
known
chase
to
the
lay
laser.
egg sacs.
yeah.
On,
What we saw yesterday.
could
So
be
you figure
the
it's a cat
same.
shark right now?
Yep. Well, at any rate, I'm getting closer. So.
It's good. You're looking good. I don't think he's going to cooperate, though. He's already directly underneath me.
Yeah.
Got tired.
Can kill the lasers. Okay, I'm gonna come down. Come out a little bit, video.
There's another one maybe off to port. Or something big.
Just take a quick look.
It's going further.
Where is he? Oh.
He keeps going.
There he is.
Here's a snapper.
Just trying
So
to
this is
get
a queen
too much
snapper.
Copy that.
Also,
Right,
well
lasers
known
again?
Yeah.
in Puerto Rico as cartucho. This is pretty big. Can we, get the lasers? It's a nice size
Okay.
queen snapper.
Lasers are clear. Okay.
So these are
Few more
one
shots,
of
and then back to
many
starboard.
Copy that.
commercially important fish
Pretty nice
in Puerto Rico.
he goes to port video, I'm going to have to let him go, okay?
Bother. He's
If he comes to
hanging
starboard,
around.
we can
Huh.
follow him.
Usually they dash away as soon as they get in front of the camera.
It's a pretty big fish.
Yeah, this one's really big. It has a couple markings on the side.
Swim away.
Okay.
Maybe he'll come around all the way.
Do we get lasers on it?
Yeah, we got lasers. Yeah, so there's not much known of population dynamics or life cycle
That was
of this fish and the habitat
There's that
in which
shark up
they
there, too. I guess I
reside
can get
in.
nearer him.
So all this
Yeah.
information is great, and it's
Is it worth
baseline
going
information to help with management
I
of this
don't even see him
species.
in my camera, do you?
I think he's right there. Is it worth going out there?
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
so. Oh, I think I see it in my camera, yeah. It's still in a good spot. I've come up to Delta 16, looking 72.
Copy that.
And that was, we saw that. Oh,
Is it the same cat
Show
shark or
lasers,
another
we
one?
take.
that's the same one.
Okay.
So that was at about 422 meters.
Lower left, there's a yellow fan too, after the fish.
Absolutely. Watch
Which
this.
one are you looking for?
The CTD.
Here we go.
Oh, there it goes.
438 meters.
This will be good video. I mean, a good shot.
So yesterday during our dive, we were really lucky, and
Sorry, video, thanks.
we approached a egg case
hit this
of
real quick.
possibly one of
great.
these cat sharks, and we saw a baby cat shark inside, still attached to the yolk sac. So it was,
Thanks. Go pot.
Couldn't have been more than about
Yeah.
4 centimeters.
This
It
is-
was very small.
This is what we wanted to look at.
That's right.
Richard? Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a new,
Okay.
something that I haven't
Just
seen
come
on
up.
this dive. Very nice plexaurid colony. Oh, there's a small solitary hydroid kind of waving around in the back there.
yeah, this one. There's something right there also, looks like maybe
Oh,
an
yeah.
anemone or something. Well, I don't know.
Is it? It looks like it's small and worm-like, or is it have tentacles?
It looks like it
Can't
has
s-
some tentacles. You're talking about the anemone looking?
Uh,
Or,
There's-
sorry, something
yeah,
else?
that one looks like a solitary hydroid. We were looking at the right. There's a kind of a brown golden structure just on the edge of the frame.
Okay, I'll start slowly over. I'm going to come over just a little bit video, if that's okay. Okay, just on the edge. Tell me when you see
Yeah,
it.
lower right. There's kind of a
The
brown.
discoloration.
Yeah. Can't quite make that out. Maybe a shrimp? No.
It looks like it's moving a little bit. And does it have right here eyes?
Thing that's
Or
right
Yeah.
is that just...
I think a little bit
Tough
above
to
the
see.
top.
That one's really tough to see.
It's
Yep.
not eyes.
Can't say.
Not sure what it is.
Oh, we max zoom? Alright.
So we're looking at this colony here. It's a plexaurid octocoral. Difficult to say which genus it might belong to at the moment, but from first glance it could be Parmerecia.
I think it is a worm. I see the bristles. Yeah. I think maybe it's a polychaete.
Yep. Yeah, I can see the tentacles now. Or antennae, whatever they are. So a plexaurid octocoral at least could be any number. It's difficult to tell when we get this shallow. Sometimes plexaurids are representing mesophotic or shallower species with shallower distribution, but there's also a number of deep water plexaurids that are very similar looking to this, like Paramaricia. There's also some shallow water species like
I can try to center up a little bit. Well,
Thesia or Bibrisi.
I don't know if lower lights would help you or not on this one, or if you even need them. Okay, perfect.
Oh, while you were at lunch, we saw another purple.
Whenever you're ready.
Purple sea fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did have a chance to look at the purple fan
All right, now let's talk
under
about
the
this.
scope
All right. So
a few days ago.
what's the direction?
Looks like could be in the
090.
genus Paramaricia.
All right.
Heading to the east. And then with whatever range you'll feel comfortable at, I was going to toss out the number 20. If you think we can do 30, might as well.
I'm fine with 30 too, either 20 or 30.
Co-pilot, do you have any preference? Looks pretty flat.
Yeah, it's not safety. I guess it's more just the pace.
Is
Yeah, there's a
there
lot of things here.
We can always
20.
Yeah.
Something.
debris or
if
line
we start feeling.
in
Yeah.
the up center left? There's a line running across the sand from the lower left.
Right, roughly here in the center.
Yeah,
Let's go in video.
just wanted to
20 meters.
check
yeah,
it's
yeah.
oddly linear.
Perfect.
Bridge is already down.
It's like a scrape mark.
Yeah.
Ready for move when you are. Range
Huh.
is 20
Or a
meters.
track
Wait,
maybe of
bearing
some
090
animal.
degrees. Speed decimal 2, please.
Or is that a break in the seafloor?
Yeah,
Maybe.
it might be some exposed rock. Yeah, it's a good point.
Good copy, thank you.
Okay, I don't think it's line.
Looks more like seafloor. Come on out video.
Small,
Oh, those cotton ball sponges.
yeah, as well as these small branching coral structures. Difficult to tell if they're hydroids at this point or if they could be scleractinians. We saw a number of hydroids and scleractinians that were eerily reminiscent of each other yesterday.
All right, my camera is at 45, and I should be moving soon.
Copy that.
But when colonies are at most a couple centimeters, it's often very difficult to determine which group they belong to.
Is that a sponge right there or something? Looks a little bit different, like darker.
Yeah. Can we snap zoom on center?
Absolutely, right by lasers there?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's go ahead and video.
Ah, this is what we were seeing before while you were at lunch.
Oh yeah. It looks like a Chrysogorgid colony. Along with a squat lobster associate. Looks like there's only one that I can see in this colony, but oftentimes we see these squat lobsters inside the colonies, sometimes one, sometimes multiple. Sometimes as well shrimps or other organisms as well. This particular genus of coral is known to have egg cases attached, like we were seeing yesterday for the cat shark.
Would you like a closer look, or is this going to be adequate? Watch it.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. Come on, wide video.
still seeing a lot of those green eyes.
Yeah, they seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, it's like this optical illusion of a line, but it just looks like the seafloor.
Restarting.
You can
the
always
aft
see
camera.
a lot of different things, but I think we haven't noticed any seafloor here that would indicate that line gets snagged or weights get snagged a lot, so this may be a relatively clean site. We haven't seen any fishing gear yet, have we?
Not yet,
Yeah.
no.
Thank you.
So it could be easier to retrieve line and gear from this site compared to some of the sites we were diving yesterday and the day
Pilots
before
have
where
some
there's a lot of
movements in the
craggy
video.
terrain.
But, pilot push
Also,
it a
the
little bit more,
fisherman
then
mentioned,
go on another one if you're
yeah,
happy with that.
messaged me last night
I'm already
and
45,
said that
so
they're using
whatever you guys would like.
a lighter
That's right.
line so it
Sure.
doesn't get snagged
Copy that.
on these
Bridges is
a lot
RV
on
now.
this terrain. So
Like
he was
taking another
expecting
move
to see a
here.
lot more yesterday,
Exactly
given
same
the
thing.
how much
20 meters
the
at
fishermen target that
090
area,
speed
but it
decimal
might
two,
be due
please.
to the method and the equipment that they're using nowadays.
Copy, bridge.
So I have no idea about the fishing in this area. Do they typically leave lines out for a day or more than a day?
No, they come out here and they drop the lines and they don't leave them
Okay.
overnight. Yeah, it's.
Careful about looking too far that way, because if you see something, you're not allowed to go get it.
This is a pretty substantial depression compared to what we've been seeing so far. There are some small dissolution features and erosional features we've been seeing.
See, going that
On
far, I'm pulling
the
just
9
pull
o'clock
my heading
position,
around 10 degrees.
It's already
Oh.
told you.
Yeah.
it's all right.
Sorry, what was that watching?
We were just gonna, if you could have time, go back to the left side of that depression. Pan left. There was a small stalk, yeah, kind of in the foreground here on top. Right now, in the center. Just snap zoom on that.
Just hold off
I
video.
think it's
Stop
probably another of these stems covered with hydroids, or rather zoanthids. I don't think we've really identified yet what could be making these stems, but it may be maybe small coral
Okay, come on
colonies
in.
in the area. We've noticed plexaurids growing in fairly more very sparsely branched stems, but it could be something else too. These are very flexible in the current, but yeah, zoanthids with more ophiuroids here. Okay, thanks.
Copy that. Some wide video.
Please pardon the interruption. Your conference contains less than 3 participants at this time. If you would like to continue, press star 1 now, or the conference will be terminated.
Not sure what that was. We'd like to say hello to all those visitors watching from the Harbor Branch.
Also been noticing some of these black corals as well.
Oh, this looks like some type of hose. Oh, here's a couple pieces.
Come on in video.
looks metal, like one end is pinched maybe.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that green is some sort of corrosion. Doesn't
Looks like
look
the broom
spongy.
handle again.
Yeah, I
like
think
this.
so. Yeah, that green looks like corrosion. It doesn't look like it's living. Oh, there's a small cup coral too on top.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, come out video.
Very nice.
Have we already seen these stars right here?
Actually, can we get a snap zoom on the star?
Sure
I
can.
don't think we've never got a close-up.
Come on in video. You can kill lasers as well. Okay.
Copy that, Bridge. Thank you.
I think we've seen this before. I remember this.
Yeah, yeah. This has been seen before. This is probably the second individual on this dive that I've seen. One of them, curiously, had two damaged arms. One of them was just cut off like a stump, and the other one was regrowing part of its arm. So there is something that possibly eats these stars or grazes on these stars, and it's interesting. I recall Chris Ma telling us about how a lot of the siderid urchins are actually other echinoderm predators. So I wonder if that could have been the culprit, but it feels like this star is actually moving at a pretty good pace that it wouldn't necessarily be the prey of another echinoderm, but
see how that happened? You looked
maybe it
too
was
far
just
to
moving
port,
very, very
and I
quietly.
spent 10 minutes off the edge of my screen.
That's really cool coloration.
It could also be
Try to
it could also be a
centered
type of fish predator.
in my light pool. Don't wander. So head straight for the center of the screen.
Okay.
Kind of like in midwater, you reset.
Go ahead and get another move in.
Copy that. Another 20 at 90.
Yep.
Sounds good. Bridge, this is ROV nav. Another move if you're ready. Same thing. 20 meters at 090. Speed decimal 2, please. Good copy. Thank you.
Feel any current down here?
Quite a bit.
From which way?
Coming out of the north. If I go completely off.
Be interesting to see how that changes once you get past this feature.
Here's some fan.
Supposed
Is
to
this
be,
what you're on? A
this might be
different
a
type
different
of
one.
urchin, too.
Look at the size of that base, though. That doesn't look
I think
proportional.
it's, I think it's like on
another
a,
30 meters or so.
is it next to a sponge, I
36.
think.
No, you're doing
Yeah.
It's like a,
Yeah,
Can we look at this white fan
But what I'm
a
saying
little
is
bit more
in another
detail?
30 meters, you're going to be behind another slightly higher feature
Is that urchin upside
to
down?
the north.
Or is...
no, I think the spines are
lasers.
to the
Take
side.
a look at both of them.
Go ahead and video.
We have the time.
These urchins, every time we see them, they're like booking it.
Someplace to be.
Maybe, yeah. Pretty busy urchins.
Yeah, well, okay.
It looks like it's going.
It's got these inflated spine tips. Made it look like the underside was showing, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
this
definitely
is I think an Areosoma.
it's cruising along.
Yeah.
Okay, and the white fan here. Yeah, so it's that sponge was in front of the coral. It's obviously not on top of the coral or underneath the coral or part of the base at all.
Yeah.
Now, will you zoom on HiPAC to get a better idea of ship progress?
Yeah, about 40
Excellent.
over just
Okay, so we're looking at likely another plexaurid here. I don't immediately recognize this one.
Well, if it gets you in a bit, you can just try to trigger
Interesting.
port and head under me.
What are we focusing on video? Ah.
A lot of mystery plexaurids here. Okay, thanks, pilot. I think we'll, looks good to us.
Have we seen these guys today? The white.
I don't think we've seen this particular. This, I believe, is
Come on in video.
Pseudocedaris. Yeah, this is another pencil urchin. Has relatively clean spines compared to the ones that we've been seeing. Okay, that's good, pilot. Thank you.
Come on out video. Let's get lasers on, please. Go pilot.
Lasers coming on.
Full wide video. Thanks. Oh, more for flying for me.
Alright, I think I've come to a stop here.
Okay.
Everything's looking good.
Push them further out.
Okay. Hey, pilot, on the sponge on the left-hand side, can we take a look at that one?
Absolutely. Will it help if it's more from above view or from underside?
from the side for now, and we may want to target that as a collection if you're in a good position.
Yeah, I'll be in a great position to sample this.
Let's take a good image of it first.
Get a little closer then. Alright, we'll image it first and then we'll go in for collection.
So it's nice to aim into the current. Your heading gets more stable.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that for the collection.
Okay.
Come on in, video. There we go. This is as close as I really want to go. The fog lights might help for this. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we're just debating here. We have a collection request. We're trying to match up the right
I think it looks pretty good.
species with the photo and similar, but let's get some image of this and we'll move on. These aren't rare at this site, so we've seen a number of them so far, so let's image it and then we can move on while we consult the shore side.
Like there? Okay.
All right, I think we're all set science-wise.
Copy that. Video whenever you're good to go.
Pilot, 3 o'clock, just outside of the frame.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, just in the foreground before the crinoid, the stalked crinoid.
Yeah, this one.
Those two sponges that are kind of more leafy and flat. Yeah, just coming into the center of the screen now. Whitish tan color.
Yes, the one that's kind of up here. Oops.
Which one do you think is a better candidate?
I think this one. Yeah, to the right. The one to the right.
You want to see the right? Okay.
I think that would be a good guess.
Yep.
Go ahead, video.
Yeah. Say it's probably as good a chance as any, unless we want to really look for a larger.
Yeah.
Does it sound like we want to collect this maybe? This one? Or
Yeah, I think we'll try and collect this one.
okay, come out video.
Go ahead, Bridge.
I'm full wide.
So this is
Copy that. How many
a
degrees?
request
Good copy.
for
So you know,
collection of a dominant
just plan on making
species
heading
that
to.
may be undescribed in this area.
And since we've
That's full wide video.
been surveying the west coast, I mean, it has been dominant species on most of the substrates.
All right, what do you think of pilot?
Some dives we've seen something
Twist
like
it.
this that seems more
Are
foliose
we
and
trying to get the whole thing?
growing
I think so,
across
yeah, it's only 10
the and
centimeters.
parallel
So
to the
get it on
bottom.
the
Some
claws
days
and just
it seems more vertical, but I think this is as good as a
I think so.
piece as any that's small
Okay,
enough
grip
to
lock and like grip force
be able
warners.
to collect.
2.
So pilot, this should be pretty hard. It shouldn't be spongy at all.
could you joy lock me?
Yep. Joy lock on.
Okay, again, pilots for your reference, port outer and starboard inner have been taken.
So crunchy.
Do you have a preference on which side?
No, I can put him in the starboard so that we can leave the port.
Okay,
For a harder one.
Starboard outer.
Yeah, if it's crunchy, it probably sinks. If you just get the jaws above it, or just inside, it should go.
So sorry, watch it. Just say one more time. You think it's real brittle or just more like solid?
I think it's going to be solid.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'm thinking go in claws only, trying to maybe scrape almost.
Yeah, scrape or
Come up,
twist. Yeah.
put it in. I'm all spun up.
Just straight down. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna try for the starboard side then.
I think that's a good idea.
One more time, starboard inner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starboard outer, actually. The hardest one.
Starboard outer is open.
Okay.
I'll bring your starboard upper around
Okay.
to light up the box.
Thank you. Grip force is currently 4, but I don't know if the lower grip forces have been.
Yeah, they close. You
Okay.
can do 1 and
Ooh, okay.
yeah, I tried them yesterday.
What's going on with? What was that?
I'm moving lights. Is that?
I don't know. It's okay now.
Okay, you want me to center it on
It's
mini?
fine now. Yes, please.
Okay. There you go.
Good copy, thank you.
Okay, this is grip force 1. Oh boy.
Too slow?
Yeah, that was the whole. Grip force 2 coming up. That's better.
Yeah. That should work. I have the light aimed into the box.
Perfect, thanks.
You'll have to lift up a bit as you go in.
Ship roll is not helping things there. Oops.
Okay, opening drawer.
Going to starboard outer.
Yep, there it is. Let me know if you want anything with camera.
Okay, so far looks great.
Okay.
Oop, did not lock out. It's a little sticky.
Yep, it's okay.
So we think this is going to fall right in?
I bet.
Okay.
That looks nice.
There you go.
Perfect. You already stowed.
Yep. And the port is still open for later, should somebody else need it. Securing hydraulics. Arm secured. I'm going to take my camera back.
Okay.
Okay, we're good here. All right, watch leads. That one's in the box.
Thank you.
Okay, swing arms are back out.
Perfect. Looks great. I feel like the current also shifted while I was sitting there. Shall we think about getting another move in? Looks
Yeah.
like there's some interesting little holes up here.
Another 20-meter move.
Yep.
090.
Go ahead.
That's good.
Bridge. This is ROV nav. Can we make another move, please? Exact same thing. 20 meters at 090 speed decimal 2, please. Good copy. Thank you.
Yeah, there's enough current now. My thrusters are set at 22 to keep my heading. The tether pulling.
I'm just basically flying with my port side into it, constantly pushing there. I'm getting too far out.
Can we just do a snap zoom on a sea urchin and crinoid?
Good timing.
I want to see if it's on top
Absolutely.
of the holdfast.
Sure. Let me get a little more stable setup and we will get a good zoom on that. Let's start in video.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Looks like it's on top of the holdfast.
Yeah, it looks like could be. This might be a predation event.
I'll
Or,
tilt
you
down
know,
just a little bit for you, video. Is that better?
didn't say it was a high-speed predation event, but this could
There's
be
a slot lobster
some
in there,
grazing by the Siderid on that stocked crinoid. There's also a little shrimp. Or
It's definitely eating because you see the fecal pellets coming out of it.
you would think that the stocked crinoid would mind, but seems like he's
I wonder
got
if it's really eating the stuck crinoid or something that is underneath the stuck crinoid. But it looks to be placed on the
yeah,
holdfast.
What do you think
yeah.
about the,
These are
the lights for
these
this?
echinoderms are.
Hey, Chris Fox.
Hi, Chris.
That didn't take long.
I'm sorry, I was watching this and eating my lunch, and I just spit it out because I was watching what you were broadcasting. you guys are absolutely right, and this is like a wonderful example of the sideroid predation behavior on these isocrinid stocked crinoids.
I think it looks good. Looks good. Okay.
If you remember, I think I had mentioned earlier, excuse me, that some of these stocked crinoids can actually move. So technically, the stock isn't actually, unlike some stocked crinoids, which are anchored in place, these stocked crinoids end in kind of a tail. And so these could actually move. They use the little cirri, all of those arm tentacles that are along the stock to sort of propel themselves forward. And many years ago, I believe it was, there were several paleobiologists, including Rich Moy and I think it was Chuck Messing or somebody from the University of Chicago, observed sideroids predating on these stocked crinoids, and they've actually found since then that many of these sideroids, some of these sea urchins, have crinoid bits in their gut. So this is probably the best video footage I've seen of this behavior, and this is thought to actually be a sort of significant moment in crinoid evolution because, for example, we've often seen feather stars sort of swimming to what everybody assumes is to escape predators. And, that makes no sense if the predators are fish, because fish are much more agile and much more likely to attack a crinoid if it jumps into the water and starts swimming around awkwardly. But it does make sense if your predator is a sideroid sea urchin, which can't follow its prey. So, it's thought that stocked crinoids and all other crinoids have developed various mechanisms for escaping what is thought to be their sort of primary ecological predators, these sideroid sea urchins. And there are probably more nuances to that and so forth, but that was the original idea as it was proposed. And so, and these two kinds of animals have been around in the fossil record since the Paleozoic. So this is a very, potentially a very old type of relationship that we're seeing. But it's just gorgeous. I mean, I'm watching this and just, it's clearly, sort of got its mouth and all of those spines, the oral spines, which are often serrated, sort of directed around the tail end of the stalk. And, it's too bad we don't have sort of a time lapse because, we might see this entire interaction rather than whatever sort of snapshot of the attack that we're seeing now. But yeah, no, I mean, let's get as great a set of images of this as we can from, different perspectives, because I think other than the scientific video filmed by the Johnson Sea Link that was many years ago, this is the first time this video has been aired. This is the first time we've seen this observation, certainly in public, but I haven't heard of any other documented cases of this predation since then. So it's definitely a significant and probably rare moment that we're catching. So I think it's kind of ironic, actually, that I spit my lunch out to watch this eating its lunch. So I'm just tickled pink. This is great video, and it really is just for a sort of a quiet Friday afternoon. This is like just a treat.
Yeah,
it really is amazing.
As much as I am right now, but definitely. In fact,
Thank you for calling in, Chris.
We'd like to do that.
Thanks for giving us some context here.
Did you see the tiny urchins that we saw earlier?
So video. I'm going to try to do that. Okay.
The white ones with the stripes?
No, we saw like newly recruit ones, really small ones.
Oh no!
Yeah, we saw a couple.
Yeah, well, apparently I've missed quite a lot of good stuff today. I saw some of those urchins that are around the sponge that you just collected. I think those might be Stylosiderus lineata. Lineata, of course, alluding to the line. But I also saw some of those interesting interactions between, the commensal brittle stars living on the urchins. the urchins were apparently different species. Histosideros was the yellow one. I'm still not sure which urchin this is because it doesn't look like any of the ones that we've seen before.
Okay.
But those ophiuroids, the snake stars that were living on those urchins, those are Astroporpa annulata. They're kind of black and white, and they have the kind of white and black rings that go along the arms, and those are a very distinctive member of the fauna from this area. So they're immediately recognizable. It was really interesting to see that as well. And your sea star, the orange sea star, looked like Mediaster, which is, I dare say, sort of a more mundane starfish for these areas. They're what do you call it? They're probably detritivores. They feed on sediment and sort of whatever they come by. They're often very common. This is the orange sea star we saw earlier today.
Yeah.
They're often very common and overlooked, but they're probably important simply by the presence of their sheer numbers. So.
No, I don't think you'll see much.
But yeah, we can see some of the spines that are the oral spines around the mouth of this urchin, and they're kind of bracing against the stalk there. And we can even see, as an aside, the animals that are growing on the spines of the sea urchin. I don't recognize, there's snails at least on one of those spines. So, and then there's this odd red spine thing that's going on some of these urchins. I don't know why some of them do that. Interesting. So, but no, I'm banner day.
Yeah, I actually see, I'm wondering, I'm just seeing in the foreground now below the siderid that some of these cirri are actually stubby, like they're little nubs, and I wonder if that's just where it was grazed, or, you see what I'm talking about?
Looks like it's grapes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that could well be what's called sublethal predation, just essentially where bits have been chewed off.
Yep.
Wow.
So this has been going on for a while.
If I can, this is Chuck Messing. Can I jump in here a moment?
Chuck,
Yes.
The man is here. Okay.
Well, I just wanted to congratulate you, Chris. That was an excellent summary, and that's exactly right. And that does look like it could be sublethal predation. One interesting thing to add, this genus of crinoids, Endoxocrinus, we hadn't seen it being preyed on directly. There's one photograph that Tom Baumiller took when we were on the Sea Link, a couple of photographs, actually stills from video, that showed, and he's the guy from the University of Michigan that you mentioned.
Oh, yes, Michigan, sorry.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That showed a big sidarid, I think it was Calicidaris,
Stubby legs.
next to, in a field of Endoxocrinus, with one Endoxocrinus lying down in a crawling posture, but it hadn't crawled away.
Yeah.
So the one species that we did see hightailing it on the bottom was a different genus, Neocrinus, which also should occur down here, and it's a more slender, more rapidly than Endoxocrinus, so it may just have a higher metabolic rate or something like that allows it to escape more easily. Certainly this crinoid doesn't seem to have reached the point of get me out of here. There's also one other thing. When you zoom out again, I noticed, I had just signed on a little while ago, there were some other stalked crinoids that looked like they were whiter than this pale purple one, and they were much, much smaller. I couldn't tell what genus offhand, probably also Endoxocrinus, but one of the interesting things that